Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is September 23rd, 2023, and this morning, CNN focusing on the Roseburg, Oregon mass shooting of 2015. If you were following me back then, we did a thorough breakdown of this mass shooting, and truly what a joke it was, and how it paid tribute to history. If you recall the Roseburg, Oregon mass shooting at Umpqua Community College, so we were told, they said 10 people were killed. And one of the stories at the time was that Roseburg, Oregon is where RFK Jr., not RFK Jr., RFK back in 1968 gave his gun control speech exactly 10 days before dying from supposedly a shooting. And as we know, RFK died by the numbers, just like JFK, just like a lot of the people involved in the Kennedy curse. And again, when RFK died, he also died exactly 139 days before the nation's first major gun control legislation in October. And in Gematria, gun control equals 139. But again, the Roseburg, Oregon shooting was in 2015. 10 dead, they said, and they made the point at the time that RFK Jr. gave his gun control speech there 10 days before his death. So they were putting the number in front of your face at the time. And now think about it. CNN makes this the story all these years later. And just last weekend, what was the big story on Saturday? It was the RFK Jr. assassination scare. So this comes the following Saturday. And back when we decoded this in 2015, I caught a lot of things like how it was 47 years after 1968. But back then, I didn't know reverse gematria. And now, recognizing reverse gematria, it just starts to make all the more sense. So here's CNN's story, published today, Shadows in the Valley. Nearly 8 years after a shooting at Umpqua Community College. Remember, Umpqua Community College equals 101 like assassin, and it happened on October 1st, 10-1. Just like how 101 was coded all over the Route 91 Harvest Festival shooting on October 1st. By the way, October 1st leaves 91 days in the year. But just to read a little bit of the article, to set up the point, driving into Roseburg feels like entering a postcard. The small city tucked in the mountains of southwestern Oregon sits inside the Umpqua Valley, where magnificent peaks tower over luscious pine forests and a maze of streams and waterfalls. The main road winds alongside the Umpqua River, which stretches 111 miles and zigzags through downtown Roseburg. They had to get that 111 in there. And again, Gematria. This is where you can see that all of these stories are perfectly encoded rituals. In Gematria, Roseburg equals 111, so does Kennedy. I didn't have that in 2015 because I hadn't thought to run the alphabetic order in reverse. All we were doing back then was running the alphabetic order forwards and forwards with numerology. And we focused on Umpqua Community College 101 on 10/1, like again how Assassins 101. And again, 10 dead. And RFK's history, 10 days before his death. Again, a lot of people think this Kennedy family, some good guy family, some white hat family. You guys, they're the same ones participating in the agendas, by the numbers, and helping whittle away our rights and liberties. Just like how RFK wanted to undermine the Second Amendment before his timely death by the perfect numerical code. Okay, but let's go through all of this. RFK's speech in Umpqua was May 27th, 1968. That was 2 days before the anniversary of his brother. His brother's born May 29th, the 149th day of the year, the 35th prime, going with him being number 35, beating Nixon in the election 305 days after Nixon's birthday. Of course, Catholic has the Gematria 35. JFK, the first Catholic president. When you run it in reverse, Catholic's 46, like his age of death. Like Joe Biden, number 46, the second Catholic president, elected 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, inaugurated on the Pope's 35th day of his age. All roads lead to Rome. We're on a calendar named after the Pope. It all makes perfect sense once you just think about it a little. But again, 2015, when this happened, which they're bringing up today, was 47 years after 1968. As we know, words like news equal 47. These are tributes in time. Time is 47, like government, like authority, like president, like White House, like Republican, like Democrat, like DC, like big federal agendas from the Jesuit city, Washington, D.C., where they're constantly undermining our rights and liberties. And here's a good Catholic family to do it with. The Jesuits served the Roman Catholic Church. But okay, Roseburg with the 111-mile long river that winds through town, as they got to tell us about. Roseburg and Kennedy. Now remember, RFK Jr., who presents himself as the good guy, he runs the Children's Health Defense, which also equals 111. And last year we had the dead Kennedy's drummer die at age 63, like how JFK was assassinated in 63. And the drummer, not only did he die at 63, he died 111 days after his birthday. The band name Dead Kennedys is 111, like Kennedy's 111. A dead Kennedy after his gun control speech in Roseburg. Okay, something else I caught about Roseburg, that I overlooked this back in the 2015 reporting, but Roseburg was in its 144th year of existence when the shooting happened there in 2015. The 144th year of existence. Again, RFK dead at 1:44 in the morning. JFK dead 144 days from meeting with the Pope. RFK Jr. officially in the race 144 days after the Superior General's birthday on April 5th. The first major assassination that goes down in the history books of Lincoln on 14/4. There were other political assassinations, but again, Lincoln gets so much attention on 14/4. The same Lincoln who blamed the American Civil War on the Jesuits. The same Lincoln who dreamed that he would be shot and assassinated on April 4th, 10 days before the 14/4 shooting. And we did talk about this back in 2015, how the phrase 10 days later equals 144, just like Jesuit order. Again, you guys can go read my old posts on my old website, freetofindtruth.blogspot.com. We're looking at these same patterns with the Jesuits and the Kennedys and Roseburg 8 years ago. And I mean, now here we are 8 years later, and our points only been proven a million more times over. Go back to August 9th, the day leaving 144 days left in the year. We talked about why Biden had the assassination scare that day from the Mormon man in Utah. And then later that day, you got an assassination again in Ecuador, which was established 46 years after the United States of America. And Ecuador's establishment date is May 24th, the 144th day of the year. But all day we were talking about 144 and assassinations, then one happened in Ecuador, and we reminded it goes beyond the U.S. This is a worldwide pattern, like the Jesuits operate worldwide. But that Roseburg shooting, the one thing that I did overlook is that town was in its 144th year of existence, and it was established in the year 72, like Jesuit orders also 72, like how Kennedy met with the Pope on 7/2, only to die span of 144 days later. Right now, in the time of Jesuit Joe, President Biden equals 72 and 144, just like Jesuit order. 10 days later, the phrase even equals 72 as well. But yeah, that 2015 ritual, which it so obviously was, again, if you remember the hero guy who got supposedly all shot up, they interviewed him in the hospital bed, and he was all smiling and moving around, and supposedly been shot to pieces. It's like, wow, he seems really comfortable. You think his body be aching with all those gunshots in him. Again, these psyops never look legitimate. They're just put out there. I think they're meant to look the way they do, like a load of shit every time, just to as a litmus test to make sure everybody's sound asleep and just believing what the authorities tell them, no matter how little sense it makes. But, yeah, why are they bringing this back up? Again, this town is connected to RFK right before his assassination and where he gave his gun control speech. And again, in the most simple cipher, gun control, 139, from RFK's death to the first major gun control legislation, exactly 139 days later. Just like how in 94, when they did the assault weapons ban for gun control, it was on 13/9. And in case you missed last week's work, RFK's assassination scare, where the assassin was held on $35,000 bail, because Catholics 35 and so is RFK. And you run it the other way, it's 46. Catholic and RFK are both 35 forwards, 46 in reverse. But as we talked about last week's assassination scare in Los Angeles, where his father was killed, it was 263 days before the upcoming 56th anniversary of the shooting on June 5th, which can be written 5/6 like 56, and 263 is the 56th prime, and again, Society of Jesus is 56, and they had to say the man was 44 years old, the man who was, the assassination scare, as we know, shooting 44, gunfire 44, mass shooter 44, military 44, big kill number, kill 44, JFK, the 44th term president, MLK killed on 4/4, Bobby Kennedy announced that death to the world only for him to get assassinated later in the year. Both of their assassinations perfectly synced up with the nation's first major gun control legislation. Again, MLK's was a huge Jesuit ritual paying tribute to the death of Martin Luther back in 1546. And again, Martin Luther wrote the 95 Theses. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated on the 95th day of the year. From the 95 Theses being pinned by Martin Luther to the establishment of the Jesuits 201 months later, from MLK's assassination to the nation's first major gun control legislation 201 days later, like the Jesuit Orders 201, like how the first Jesuit Pope is the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. But yeah, the other thing about this 44-year-old guy held on $35K bail, JFK, number 35 and the 44th term president. But his name, Adrian Paul Aspero, 263. Just like how it's 263 days from the 56th anniversary. And again, the problem with the people in this world is cognitive dissonance. They look at information like this and they want to believe in RFK Jr. and they want to think it's all a coincidence, but you guys got to pull your head out of your ass. If you're wasting your time, investing your time and energy and money in candidates like this, you're doing just that. You're wasting your time, money, and energy. These people are not on your side. If RFK Jr. was on your side, he would not be having an anti-mandate lockdown rally on Georgetown's birthday where the whole fucking pandemic was planned from. Okay? He wouldn't be doing it on their birthday. He wouldn't be announcing that he's officially running on Ignatius of Loyola Day, the first Superior General of the Jesuits, April 19th. He wouldn't be filing to officially run on another very special day to the Jesuits, the 95th day of the year, 144 days after the Superior General's birthday. This is a total Jesuit puppet. It's so obvious. That's why all these rituals are so perfect. That's why he's in LA 263 days before the 56th anniversary of his father's assassination. And remember, his father's name, Robert Kennedy, 156 the simple way. June 5th is the 156th day of the year. With numerology, 6/6. What day did he die? He died June 6th, supposedly at 1:44 in the morning. How about in reverse with numerology? Robert Kennedy, 69. How old's RFK Jr. when he's doing this ritual? 69 years old. What's the Jesuit order equal? The Jesuit order, 69. What's Catholic Church equal? 69. What's New World Order equal? Again, that's the Jesuits. It equals 69. What's Illuminati equal? Founded by a Jesuit, Adam Weishaupt, 69. This guy's in it. Controlled opposition, hope for the hopeless. Again, I don't have a problem with most of the things RFK Jr. is on board with. The only thing I really disagree with him on is Ukraine. He supports the Jesuit Russia-Ukraine agenda. And that's where his cracks show. Remember what they were doing to him on the 201st day of the year this year? They had that Jesuit lady, again, I covered it last week, Miss 201, leading the hearing, making it sound like RFK Jr. some wackadoodle person, like all these people who question the authority. But yeah, again, the CIA established on the 201st day of the Pope's age in a huge Jesuit ritual, Catholics in Action. This just happened last week to be on RFK Jr.'s 243rd day of his age. The guy born on 117, where Central Intelligence Agency's 243 and 117, and the scare happened at Wilshire Ebel Theater, 117. Just happened to be a date with 68 numerology that this went down last week. CIA 68, like his dad in 68. And right before the CIA's birthday, which is September 18th. 259th day of the year as well it was when that happened last week. Roman Catholicism 259. Today, then bringing this back up, today's the 266th day of the year. The Jesuit motto, Isus Hominum Salvator, equals 266. the first Jesuit popes, the 266th. In 2015, when this happened, RFK Jr. was at Washington, D.C., the Jesuit stronghold. You know where Pope Francis is today? Today, Pope Francis is speaking in France, the original home of the Jesuits. And one more thing about Roseburg, Oregon, and then bringing this back today. Oregon, of course, is the 33rd state in order of statehood, number that's again and again used in their mass shooting scares to undermine rights and liberties. Kennedy has the Gematria 33, like federal, like masonry, like secrecy, like order. So think about that. Of all places for RFK to give his gun control speech right before his death, the 33rd state in Little Roseburg, which overlaps with Kennedy. It syncs up with the distance of the river. All right, so anyhow, we'll keep this one short and sweet. Thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. It says we're at 47 likes and over 150 people watching. If a few more people want to hit the like button on the way out, it'll help the algorithm. It'll help this video reach a few more people. And thank you also to Mike Rawson. It says he's been a member for 4 months. I appreciate that. All right, Truth Seeker, we'll leave it there for now. And until next time.